thoughts on Clemson losing two starters / co-starters on defense recently. As a Clemson fan, it seems a little bit worrisome. Well, what he's referring to is, at least I think the two guys he's referring to is number one, the guy that got kicked off the team yesterday, Derion Kendrick, who was a defensive back for Clemson. And last week, we had a player that actually retired, a defensive end, Foster. And that was unexpected. So basically what happened with him is he was one of the ones that was severely affected by COVID when he tested positive for it last year. He never really fully recovered from it. According to Dabo, anyway, and in the article I read, he's had a history of asthma problems throughout his entire life. So when he got sick with COVID, it really did a number on him, and he never really fully recovered from it. He is a graduate, and according to him, he had to choose between coming and playing his final season at Clemson or taking a job opportunity that he wanted to take. So he chose the job opportunity over coming back. It sounds to me as if he never really had any aspirations of being a National Football League player because of his health issues, maybe. So losing him, he's a veteran guy. So yes, that definitely is not good. He's depth. He's part of the depth on the defensive line. Derion Kendrick, was I surprised when I read the headline yesterday that Kendrick got kicked off the team? No, because this has been an ongoing issue with him. He was he's got a pretty interesting story. In high school, he was a quarterback. He's obviously the most athletic guy on the team. Wasn't recruited by anybody in college football as a quarterback. Goes to Clemson as a wide receiver. Plays one season at wide receiver. Then they transition him to defensive back, which is where he's played the past 2 seasons. And he's had his flashes of great play. And I really think that coming into this season, we were really looking forward to him finally settling in and becoming a veteran defensive back on the team, which is one of the key positions of need on Clemson's team right now. But last year he missed, I think, 3 games for discipline issues. I think he's failed a couple drug tests for marijuana, which is not a big deal in college, but it is what it is. There's rules there for a reason. I think maybe he had some issues academically, not living up to the standard that's set there by Dabo and the rest of the coaching staff as far as academics go. So, in Derion Kendrick's words himself, he said, I exhausted my 9th life with Coach Sweeney. In other words, he gave me a lot of chances, and I continued to screw up, and I screwed up one too many times. And as a result, he got kicked off the team. So, from a football standpoint, is it good that Derion Kendrick got kicked off the team? Absolutely not. But I think maybe getting a guy like that out of the locker room is actually more beneficial to the team than the alternative.
I saw his draft projection, both looking at the stories yesterday and then also at the time that he made the decision that he was going to stay at Clemson for his senior season as a potential late first rounder. I would love to gather up all the information on all the various players that are either entering the NFL draft or considering it, to add up all the projections for a late first round pick, because I think, Pete, it's typically like 150 guys, because I understand, I'm not saying that he would not have been selected in the first round of the NFL draft. I'm just saying that the potential of all the people that I see, that there's some kind of projection of being a possible first round pick, it would add up to a ton of dudes, and there's not enough spots in the first round. But I was a bit surprised to see that high of a projection on him.
I don't know. Where'd you read that? See, I would have had him maybe in the 2nd or even 3rd round.
That was on one of the major sites, either ESPN, the article I read on there, that was his, again, a projection or a possible projection, a possibility.
I mean, look, he's a solid player. I wouldn't put him in the elite category. And I think to go in the first round as a defensive back, you have to be elite. So
you should be potentially elite, period,
yeah.
Anywhere. But yeah, especially a defensive back as a first round pick. And that they're basically the only reason that he came back was to get his degree. Well, I can't imagine that. That's what I think his mom said at the time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked to a Clemson buddy who didn't think it was a big deal, didn't think that he was an exceptional player, said, sure, we're going to miss him, but wasn't too interested in tackling, never lived up to his potential. We're good without him.
So this is what happens, Mark. This is the same thing that happens when you really want to get a recruit and you think he's going to sign with your school, and then he signs with another school, and you go, "Oh, we didn't really need him anyway. We didn't really want him anyway." You know. So I heard a lot of this yesterday, or I read a lot of this on Twitter after the news broke. A lot of Clemson people saying, "Oh, he was no good anyway. Oh, we need to get rid of Landon Zanders too. I hope he gets kicked off the team too." No, look, depth is an issue at defensive back for Clemson. Period. Would you take one? You take a starter and a guy who's a veteran, and he gets kicked off. One day he's on the team, and the next day he isn't. That's not good. I don't care. I don't care if he lived up to your expectation personally or not, because he was a 5-star recruit. And I guess the expectations are always high for a 5-star recruit. But he's a solid player. You don't want to lose a guy like that.
Sure. If there's a guy that's projected to go in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, then he can play for anyone and be on the field and be productive.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose those guys.
No.
Derion Kendrick, moves on from Clemson. I read some of the quotes that Dabo made at the time of the disciplinary action last year when he missed the Wake Forest game, sat out at the beginning of the Citadel game. I think it was something about, Dabo was presented with, is he in the doghouse? And he said, well, we like to call it the love shack.
Yeah. He said he's not in the doghouse. It's more like the love shack. Yeah. In other words, I'm disciplining him, but it's nothing too serious, is what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
But look, Dabo Swinney has a history of this. This isn't the first or last player that's been kicked off of the team for either disciplinary problems or just not living up to the academic standard that he sets there. So again, when I read the news, now if I would have read the news yesterday that said DJ Uiagalelei gets kicked off the team, and now I would have been shocked at that. When I read Derion Kendrick gets released from the team, I'm like, oh, well, okay. I'm actually not, surprised. I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier, kind of thing.
Definitely. So big news out of Clemson. Derion Kendrick, talented player, a starter for the past 2 years after moving over from wide receiver, and we'll see what his NFL draft prospects are. So is he going into the transfer portal? Do you know, or is he opting for the NFL draft? Transfer portal.
I know he's transferring, and this would be interesting to see where he goes. I have a feeling, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that Georgia is going to be at the top of the list. I don't know what they need, or if they even have room for another scholarship or whatever. But he grew up in Rock Hill, South Carolina. For those of you who don't know where Rock Hill is, it's sort of right in the middle of the state. It's right between Columbia and Clemson, basically. And I think one of the reasons he came to Clemson was to stay semi-close to where, to home. And Athens is not that far from Clemson. It's only about an hour and a half. So, or maybe not even that far. So I would not be surprised to see if he ended up to be a Georgia Bulldog.
So we've got the big news out of Michigan with a quarterback coming in from Texas Tech, a 5-star commit at cornerback. Derion Kendrick moves on from Clemson, and we'll see where he lands.